Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hard Nine Podcast. Thank you, as always, for joining us. We greatly appreciate you. Today kicks off February, which means 2 weeks from this very day that we are sitting at right now is the start of spring training.
Yes, the players get to go back on Valentine's Day, which I'm sure is fun for the wives and the girlfriends of the players.
Yeah, I think official date is February 15th, but I think that
They
my
report
guess
on the
is,
14th.
yeah, I think that's exactly how it works out. They probably have to do the old physicals and the old little P tests and the old
Pitchers and
all of that
catchers
stuff.
report on the 14th.
Yeah,
Players, I think the 20th.
yeah, but I thought the official player and even pitcher catcher date was the 15th. Is
They
it?
they're reporting on the 14th.
Okay,
They
gotcha,
start doing
gotcha.
stuff on the
So
15th, I believe.
13th. So 2 weeks from yesterday. Then I
Yeah.
thought it was 2 weeks from today. All right. Either way, hey, we have entered February. We have withstood the long off season as far as getting through the World Series with no Cardinals, getting through the winter meetings in December. Then obviously the downtime after Christmas, the beginning of the new year where nothing really happens. And now we've entered spring training month, which means, as you know, the next 9 months there will be baseball from here on out.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I think it's fun to get it going again. This January, my God, it's been boring. It's been so. I mean, if Carlos Correa had a real ankle, like it would have been really boring. Nothing would have happened.
Yeah,
If he had
yeah,
a
it
real
really.
ankle and was a giant,
Yeah, shout out to Jeff McNeil. He did get an extension, so good for him.
yeah, good for him.
But yeah,
I
you're right.
mean,
There's
good for both
really
sides, man. That
nothing,
was a good deal.
really nothing. Thank again. It's always good to be back, and we've really enjoyed doing these player profiles. We've only done a couple of them. Obviously, we did Wilson. We did Goldie, and it's going to be pretty cool to keep these going. I'm really enjoying them because it gives me a deep dive into these players a little bit more, and then I think just getting everybody ready for the season. Like if nothing else, like we could sit around and we could talk about how Jordan Walker was ranked third on the prospect list, and we might talk about that at some
Fourth.
point in time.
We just
Or
talked about this. He
fourth,
was
sorry,
fourth.
overall third on the National League. But at least these profiles I think are pretty fun. I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, and also they're all in a playlist now. I finally put them all in a playlist. So all the player profiles will be in the same playlist, so you can click on one and watch all the way through if you want.
Look at you! Look at us! Look at us!
No,
Well,
look
really,
at
you.
me. It wasn't you. You didn't do it.
I knew it was coming. I don't
It,
even know why I
it
said
wasn't
us
exactly
there.
a difficult process, but yeah, I mean, I don't. We don't need to talk about Jordan Walker. I mean, he's probably what we expected, right? Ranked in the top five.
Right.
There was a
Yeah.
guy that
That's
ranked in
where.
number
Hey, who
14
cares?
today.
In the end, who cares? Who
There was
cares?
a guy. I mean, there was a guy that was ranked. That ranked Jordan Walker 14th today. I just want to say that guy is stupid. He's. I mean,
Right.
I don't know if there's
Right.
one prospect I'd trade Jordan Walker for straight up, let alone 13. So I think that was stupid. But we're gonna
Yeah.
talk about second baseman today.
Yeah. The position you and I are familiar with.
Yeah, a position near and dear to my heart as a short king that had
Same.
no power. That's where I played.
Same. Yeah, same. Exact same. But it's really going to be cool because obviously returning, you have Brendan Donovan, Gold Glove Award winner, and we're going to talk about him in a little bit. But the guy I think that draws the most, I don't want to say
Intrigue.
ire, intrigue. I think that is a really good word right there. Is Nolan Gorman, and I dug into some stuff with Gorman, just going back to his high school career, and I don't need to go through all of the numbers, but good Lord, what that man did in high school was absolutely unbelievable. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
there's a reason he was
there's
a
a
first
reason.
round pick
Yeah,
out of
there's a reason he
Arizona,
was
right?
drafted in the first round. You want to get to his on-field stuff, and then we'll get to his background after. Is that what you want to do?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
I like I said, we don't have to go deep into it. I just am intrigued by a guy. Like I've always been intrigued by guys who hit absolute tanks. I've always been drawn to those. Again, you and I were like gap to gap hitters. I've one over the fence home run in my career. One. All right. Lot of little league home runs, if we're going to be honest. A lot of inside the Parkers with 7 errors. But either way, I've always been drawn to these guys. I mean, Adam Dunn is one of my all-time favorite players.
Bingo.
I love Nick Stavanoa when he was here, Ron Gant when he was here, Mark Witten when he was
They're the
here.
guys, though. They're the
Like
guys
I
that
love
will
those
absolutely.
guys.
Well, McGuire's a different level than every other
Right.
person you
But
just
so
named.
when you see a 22, 23 now year old kid
He's still
who is an
22.
absolute fucking stud athlete, he's not just a masher like some of these other guys were. And obviously Dunn was recruited to play college football at quarterback, but I am so like intrigue was a great word that you used because I can't like I'm so intrigued to see what his career looks like, and I hope it's for the next 17 years as a Cardinal.
Here's what I think that people have like to give up on prospects, and I think that's partially the media's fault and people like us, honestly, who come on here and talk about how exciting Nolan Gorman was when he was coming up, and we pressure them to get him up and make his debut. Um, to where it's very rare where someone comes up like Michael Harris the second, where he just was great the whole time he was up. It's very rare. So when guys have a little bit of a falter, like as that should be expected and not something to use against them. And let's be honest, Nolan Gorman for the first I don't know, like 60 games, I would say that he played in the big leagues. I mean, he was outperforming my expectations
Same,
personally.
same.
The last 19 were really bad, so
Yeah,
it looks a lot worse. But at the end of the day, I mean, he was above league average as a rookie with a 106 OPS plus in 89 games, where the last 20 he basically couldn't hit the ball.
right. And it's wild to me that fans so quickly think that they know what you have in a player. Like imagine if organizations ran like this. We see you play 90 games, we know what you are. Like could you like let's not forget, guys, and I'm not making this comparison, but Mike Trout came up and struggled mightily and was sent back down. Bryce Harper really struggled. And again, 19-year-old, I get it. But the point is, it's like you said, Michael Harris is an anomaly. These guys come up and they struggle. Pujols was an anomaly in 2001. It's just a
And
lot of
J
times these
Rod,
guys,
J
right?
Rod was the rookie of the year, and he came up and struggled. Wander
Yeah,
Franco was fantastic for the last 2 months of 2021, but the first couple months of the first month that he was up there, he was just average. Like it happens
yeah.
hard, man. Like I
I
don't
mean,
think you
Jared
have to
Kelenic
say
has been a
this.
top prospect since he was like
That's
out of
not
high
true.
school, and he's been up and down and struggling. I'm hoping
Well,
that he
he's
turns
just
around.
been
But
horrible.
I think, but he's finally got it going and was starting in the postseason last year. But so
Yeah.
we're hoping that it turns out. I think what fans forget is how fucking hard this game is, and how you have to make adjustments. But so is the guy on the mound. So is the defense, and I do believe that Gorman, he's going to strike out. Get over it, folks. The game is different than it was when you watched the Whitey ball. It's
But
not the
even then,
same,
like Dave Kingman was playing 20 years ago, striking
right?
out a ton.
Exactly. But 20 like Greg Lazinski, guys like that in that time period. Pete Vukovich, like those kind of guys
Power hitters
were
strike out,
striking
or
out.
else they wouldn't be power hitters. Here's the thing
Gorman
that
Thomas, like those guys were Gorman Thomas, not Vukovich. That's who I meant. But either way, my point is, like, here's the thing with Gorman. I do believe that the power upside is massive. I mean, I think he hit 30 some home runs last year between AAA and the
30, he
bigs.
had 30
30
exactly.
exactly. There you go. And I also do believe, like it or not, I think the shift is going to help him. Like, I really truly believe that. And I also truly believe this is a guy, and I'll let you expound on this a little bit more, but this is a guy that everything we've heard from, this isn't just lip service. This is from guys who are in there with him, is he almost works too hard. That he's almost too hard on himself at times, and he's almost in the building too often. So you can't tell me that he didn't spend all off season working on either laying off of or how to get on top of a high fastball or seeing a lot of spin. You just can't tell me that he hasn't done that, and that's what great hitters do.
Yeah, that was actually what Ollie said he was working on, and they said they were getting good reports that he's just work. He has a team. I saw him. He was recording. Someone recorded. I don't know if he posted it or someone posted it of him hitting in the cage, and he had a machine set low, so the ball was rising, and he was trying to get on
Mm-hmm.
top of it. That's basically been his off season. He had 16 home runs in AAA last year, Dad. 16. How many
I
games
know.
do you think he played in AAA?
Well, I did look, so I don't really want to make a guess because I know the
43.
answer.
He had
I
16
know.
home runs in 43 games, and he hit 14 in 89 games in the big leagues. Like if we just extrapolated the big league numbers, that's what 28 home runs over a full season.
That's a 5-syllable word.
It's a good word. But if we
That
just,
was
but
really
I mean,
good.
like we're talking about a guy who already projects to probably be a 25 to 30 home run hitter now. That's without any
Right.
progress. Like today, and I think the thing that I'm worried about, and I think we should get into whether or not what we think his role is going to be. But the thing I am worried about is there are so many options that the Cardinals have, and we know Gorman's going to be a streaky hitter because that's just that type of hitter he is
Right.
at this point in time at 22, going to be 23 during the season. Um, I'm worried that they're going to, if he struggles and goes through long extended periods where he's striking out a lot, because it's going to happen, they're going to panic and go straight to Alec Burleson or give his at-bats to Juan Yepez or say, Donovan, you're the everyday second baseman. Gorman, you're not even going to sniff that position. That's the only thing I think will hold Nolan Gorman back from reaching his potential on the Cardinals.
Yeah, unfortunately, the one thing to hold him back are the Cardinals. Like that is
And
definitely
I get
the
it. If they're
problem.
trying to win and they've got
Yeah,
a
I
lot
get
of
it too.
options.
I mean, there is no doubt that baseball is a "what have you done for me lately" sport. It's hilarious. In May, literally, you go on Twitter, every Cardinal fan is clamoring, "Get Nolan Gorman up here." Then for 3 months, awesome. Then you get to October, and because he got sent down and then back up. Oh, we need to trade him immediately. We know what he is. No, you have no idea. Like if you sitting on Twitter have no idea what he is, we don't know what he is. I don't think the Cardinals really understand what his ceiling is. You talk about a first round draft pick, a guy who won the high school home run derby, like a guy who hit tons of bombs in high school, was committed to University of Arizona. When you have that kind of power potential, you're gonna strike out at times. It's going to happen. But if he could cut him down a little bit, imagine what that home run. To me, this is a potential 40 home run guy in the major leagues. That's what
I mean,
that's
he's got
what
that.
I
He
see.
definitely got that potential. He's projected on some websites to hit 28 this year at the age of
Yeah,
23. He doesn't turn 23 till May, so he's going to be 22 in his second season in the big leagues for the first month. He's going to be 22. Here's the thing that I think is significant with Nolan Gorman. This has been well documented, but it has been a common theme with him where he gets up to a league, maybe he's on fire for a few weeks, then struggles really mightily, and then the next year, like he did with AAA last year, he just lights it on fire. Like his leap from AA to AAA, he struggled in AAA in 2021. He came back up in 2022 to AAA. He was one of the best hitters in all of baseball.
right.
He had like 12 home runs in the first month and a half. Like I think that is something. He just might be a guy that takes a little bit to adjust. And that's
Yep.
okay because he's 22 years old.
Which,
They
to be
fast
fair,
tracked him to
Caleb,
the big
is
leagues.
almost every single human in the major leagues. There are certain guys that aren't that guy. Those are
Dude,
the
I mean,
ones that we talk about eventually in Cooperstown. I see the home run potential, and I understand the old saying, "Oh, potential is what'll get you fired." Okay, whatever. But this guy, to have him in the Cardinal organization, we haven't had a guy like this. Can you remember in your
Tavares.
lifetime? Okay,
Are
did
you talking
he
about a
have?
left-handed power hitter?
Yeah, Tavares is it, right? Like
I
that's
mean,
it.
that'd
I
be
mean,
it.
Matt
Yeah, and
Carpenter obviously had some really good years here, but
he was
coming
never
through
a
the
power
system,
hitter
no,
coming
he
up.
wasn't labeled. That's what I was going to say.
He was
But
more
can you
Brendan
remember?
Donovan than Nolan Gorman. It would be Tavares, but at the same time, here's the thing that frustrates me so much. They have lefties in the organization that are projected to be pretty good big leaguers, like Burleson, Nootbaar, guys like that. They don't have another Nolan Gorman or
No,
anyone on the way. So if you're thinking there's a lot of really young, exciting prospects that are 18, 19 years old that you and I haven't talked about at all in the Cardinal
right,
system, guys like Josh Baez, people like that. But they don't have another left-handed guy that could be a Kyle Schwarber type. They don't have
right,
that. And that's the guy they were trying to sign. Rumors are coming out today that they tried to sign Cody Bellinger. They're looking for
yeah,
that. They might have it in a 22-year-old. I
yes,
just think they need to give him the run. My question to you, I think he's going to play way more second base than other people believe. What do you
yeah.
think? I think Donovan is
Okay,
going to be
I think
used a
that's a really
lot to
good.
move around.
So do I. So do I. I and you and I have talked on here a lot, and I think we're going to continue to do that until he proves us wrong. But we know one thing about Ollie that we haven't seen probably since the days of Tony. He's gonna maximize whatever roster he has and get guys moving around. We know that. Like Schilt and Matheny weren't necessarily those guys. Ollie seems to be that guy.
Ollie's
The
very
one thing
smart.
you've talked about, and the one thing I think I've seen other people talk about, I'm intrigued to see if during spring training, I don't know what he's been doing this year, if they give Gorman some reps in the outfield. I mean, you're talking about a guy with that size. He came up as a third baseman. They moved him to second. I don't think people understand how difficult that is. Like, I don't. The people look at second baseman and they think it's the easiest position on the infield. It's not. Like that is a tough move for a kid. I mean, it's a different angle. The ball comes off the
He's
bat
also a
different.
big guy, second base.
It's
There's a reason
it's
not a ton of big guys play
you
there.
have you have your back to base runners on double play. I mean, it is a tough move. And honestly, he did have some errors last year. I'm not surprised by that. He's going to make some errors. Hey guys, guess what? Everybody does it. Like the errors happen. But I think he's handled himself brilliantly. And we saw Edman move from the infield to the outfield, and he handled himself very well. I don't see why Gorman couldn't play out there either. I think Gorman's going to get a lot of at bats. We have talked on here that I think spring training is going to be awesome to watch, to see which of these guys really kind of have a breakout. Because while normally you don't put a lot of stock in spring training, I think the Cardinals almost have to this year.
Yep.
With guys like Yepez, Gorman, Walker, Newbar, fill in the blanks, right? I think you have to. So I think I think they're going to use Donovan in a lot of different spots. I think maybe you're going to see Nolan Gorman in a lot of different spots. And, while we think that Contreras and Nolan and Goldie are going to get DH at bats, I agree with that. But you still have Yepez and you have Gorman. I just think it's an awesome situation to be in. And the one thing that does scare me is what you brought up. Like, you don't want to see a guy get buried on the bench. Any of those guys. That's the hard part. And that's what Ali and Stubby and McEwing are going to have to deal with, I think. And to be fair, they got to be up every night going, here's a potential lineup. Here's a potential lineup. That has to be exciting.
Well, I think all they have to do is let it play out. And that's why we'll talk about this as we get closer to July, because we won't have any idea what the team's going to look like by that time. But they're really primed. Like, people are upset about no moves being made. They're really primed to find out what they have and who they want to have for the future this year and make a massive trade in July if they want to. But I think with Nolan Gorman, and we're going to talk about Donovan as well today. I think they really go hand in hand, obviously, because they play the same position as their primary position. I have a pen in my hand. As the primary position. But I think...
So you started smoking cigars.
No. I think that Nolan and Goldie are going to DH a lot. And I think that's going to have Gorman playing second base a lot, because you're going to have Donovan playing third, or you're going to have Donovan playing first. Or, hey, like we talked about the outfield a lot, there's a world where we think it's maybe a little crowded now. What if Tyler O'Neill gets hurt again? What if Dylan Carlson's ineffective against righties again? And then Jordan Walker, maybe he's not up yet. Maybe Donovan's playing left field, and you've got Gorman at second base. And if Yepez is hitting versus righties, and Gorman's hitting versus righties, they're both going to be playing. So one's going to be DHing. They have so many opportunities. I think too much before the season, we act like we know what their plan is / what is going to transpire. Look back in 2021, the beginning of the year, Edmundo Sosa was on the bench. Paul DeJong was batting fifth, and Justin Williams was playing left field. That is not how it ended. So we don't know how things are going to go, but we know that Nolan Gorman has the potential to be different than any other player on the team. A difference maker to just a different level. And let's be honest, he could be batting, even if he's playing well, he might be your 7 or 8 hitter.
Right. And it's funny because you mentioned Schwarber, like people who love to point a batting average would hate Kyle Schwarber. Like, it's in the 220s every year. Like, Dunn was that guy. Right. But look at his OPS, look at his OBP, look at his OPS, and then look at his power. Like, that's why when you look at, I jokingly have made this with a bunch of my buddies, but if you look at Adam Dunn's numbers as a whole and discount the strikeouts, he's almost a Hall of Famer. Like, when you look at what his OPS and his OPS plus were, they're unbelievable with his power numbers. Like, nobody's going to care. Like, you have Nolan, or Arenado, you have Tommy, you have Lars, you have Goldie, you have Contreras, you have guys in there who are going to hit for a fairly high batting average. Even Tyler. We've seen Tyler hit 300 or close to 300 in this league. If Gorman goes out and hits 230, let's say, with close to a 400 on base, or no, 350 on base percentage, 340, but hits 25 to 30 home runs, like that's an incredibly valuable player.
And here's the thing as well, like, he was a career 280-ish hitter in the minor leagues. He's not a guy that strikes out. No. I mean, I think we saw this with Tyler. He struck out a ton in 2021 when he had that big 290 batting average. Guys like them maximize their contact so much that, yes, they strike out a lot, and that's a large percentage of their outs, but they hit the ball so damn hard when they put it in play that a lot of times it's going to be a hit. It's going to be a double. It's going to be a single. It's going to be a home run because they hit it so hard. And that is one thing Nolan Gorman does, much like Jordan Walker when we talk about him. Jordan Walker doesn't strike out nearly as much, but the guys that hit the ball the hardest are the guys that get the most hits and maximize their potential as much as they do. And Gorman does that. He hits the ball so hard. Like, he projects to be a really, really good power hitter in this league if he's given the opportunity to develop into that.
Agreed. And I think one thing a lot of people, and you've brought this up about other guys before, one thing people forget, he also missed an entire season. Like, let's not forget the 2020, he was at Grizzlies Field taking batting practice or playing games or whatever they were doing there. Like, if you go through it in 2018 in 2 leagues, he hit 291 with a 949 OPS. In 2019,
Hold on,
he
hold on.
hit
That was
248
as
with
an
hold on, what?
18-year-old, by the way. 18 years
Correct.
old.
And in 2019, he dropped to 248. Yeah, as you go up in leagues, it's going to get a little bit difficult. 221, he's back up to a 279 batting average. That's a double A and triple A with an 814 OPS and 231 total bases. Like again, that's coming off missing an
And
entire league, Caleb,
and as
like an
well, like
entire season.
and as
Like
well, like
imagine that.
those 2 seasons you just talked about, his stats were way better than that. And then he went up a league and he struggled. And that's what I was
Correct.
just talking about. He has had this tendency to really have a problem adjusting his first go around in the league. And then as he gets into an off season, he knows what to work on. He really takes a step forward. I think we're looking at a guy that could be. I'm not gonna bring up Schwarber because Schwarber, I mean, one of the most elite power hitters we have in this
Lives in
game.
rarefied
But
air.
what I will
Agreed.
say is a guy like Brandon Lau, a guy like that. That is what we could have on our hands with Nolan Gorman. Just a power hitting guy. And let's be honest, he could be a 30 home run guy next year. Would
He
shock
could.
nobody. He could be playing second base.
I know.
That is rare. That does not come around all the time. I'll
Yep.
take a few errors if he's dropping 30 for me.
Yeah. And also, again, you're talking about a guy who's going to get plenty of at bats at DH. And I do think Ollie could put him in the corner outfield. Like, I think it's going to be an interesting, like,
Well, I don't
I am
know.
so excited for Nolan Gorman because you and I have been massive supporters, massive fans since literally the beginning of last year when we saw, like, coming into the 22 season. And, we were loud, like, hey, he needs to be up here. Finally comes up and we saw it. We saw what was there. Yeah, the league adjusted. He adjusted back. The league readjusted. Now it's his turn. Like it's like chess. Like this game. This isn't a game of checkers. It's a game of chess, and we'll see how he does. But a guy who works that hard, a guy who is every coach along the way has said this guy is one of the first guys in, last guys out. Almost works too hard. Like I'll take my chances with Nolan Gorman on this team.
Yeah, and like he's gonna have some familiar faces up there with him as the AAA hitting coach got called up.
Yep.
So I think he's just gonna be more comfortable in this. I mean, that doesn't get talked about enough. Going to the big leagues, that's a big change. A big change
Yeah.
with competition, with lifestyle, with who you're around. You're around people you don't know. Like you don't come up
Yep.
with your whole team. Like when you
Right.
go to AA to AAA, a lot of the guys you're with were up there with you now. Not for him. So I think I think he's gonna have a great season, but that leads us right into Donovan because they kind of go hand in hand.
Well,
It's hard to talk. Yeah,
one
go
thing
ahead.
I do want to say, just a reminder, I think that's also important. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Libby, and we'll talk about him later. But those two, like best friends. I mean, drafted together, played together. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with those two. But that's a pretty cool story. But I know, we'll get to him later. But yeah, let's move into Donovan because go ahead, you take it. I didn't mean to step on that there.
No, it's fine. I don't want to talk about Libby ever, but he's just frustrating me. But you can't talk about one without the other because I think they really have a lot to do with how the other. Well, I don't know. Like, do you think they're gonna block playing time for each other? Like, I don't believe that, but
No,
I do believe that Brendan Donovan could take a lot of the bats away from Nolan Gorman if the outfield pans out the way they think it's going to. But Brendan Donovan, obviously, Gold Glove for utility,
yeah.
for the utility player. Stole it from Tommy somehow, but whatever. Good for Brendan. Um, what are your expectations for him? Do you think he's going to be the leadoff hitter? Like, let's just get straight into it with him
That's.
because
I mean, here's I don't know. I don't know
he
what they
should
do.
be right going into opening day.
Him or Lars? I mean, Lars had a lot of success there last year.
Yeah,
You
but
know
he
what I
didn't have a
mean?
390 on base percentage like
I know.
Donovan did.
Do
That's
you feel like
elite.
Donovan's even more suited to hitting that two slot?
No, I don't. I don't. Well, we've talked about this before. I don't like lefties back to back when you don't have a left-handed.
I
When you
know
have
you
a
don't.
right-handed heavy lineup, I think that's a stupid way to roll out your lineup. But I think you saw the Cardinals agree with that in the postseason. But I mean, no, Brendan Donovan is such a pest. He is such a pest. I saw a stat. He swung at the first strike in that bat that he saw only 17% of the time. It was like the bottom. He was like in the bottom four in terms of how low his percentage was. He is going to stress the pitcher out, and he's going to get on base. I mean, by the numbers, twice a game, right? Like a 400 on base percentage.
Yeah.
I want that guy at the top of my lineup. I don't want him batting
Okay.
fifth. That was stupid.
Agree. Just to throw this out, last year, 25 games, 26 games. I'm sorry, in the leadoff spot, he hit 220 with a 649 OPS. 38 games in the second slot, he hit 317 with an 838 OPS.
Hmm.
I mean, there is something to be, again, that is a small sample size. I completely understand that.
Well, can I
I'm
be
not pointing
honest?
to that as anything other than what it could be.
I just don't look into stuff like that because you can also look at like when was he leading off? Was he slumping when he was leading off? Well, like it. I don't think they correlate as much, especially when the numbers are that small. Like if that's a trend that
It's small
persists, then we'll
sample
get
size,
to it.
very.
But I know that he prototypes as your leadoff hitter. Like I mean, he's a 400 OBP guy, and it's not like that's new. Like with Donovan, he was very overlooked. 2020 as well. Like the fact that he didn't get a season there probably played a role into that.
Correct.
He is 25, going to be 26 this year. But all through the minors, he never his lowest OBP was 375, and that's when he was a rookie, like in Palm Beach. But other than that, he was at 3.8. Oh no, I'm looking for the wrong thing. Sorry. His OBP was always around 390 to 400 every year,
Right.
basically. So I mean, that's just kind of who he is. Like it wasn't like people didn't expect him to come up and be who he was, but that's because they didn't really look at him, not because that's not who he is. That's not who he's always been. He's just a little pest. He's like the perfect guy to have up
Well, I
there.
think it's so like it's the same thing with Tommy Edman. Like Donovan was drafted, I think, in the 7th round out of South Alabama, I believe. Born in Germany, by the way. That's cool.
Was
Born on a base in
in
Germany,
Wurzburg.
but grew up in Alabama and then went to South Alabama. Had a pretty good senior year in high school. I saw drafted after his junior year, I believe, at South Alabama. But 7th rounders, like we just like Tommy Edman. A lot of us, I'll be honest, didn't know a lot about Tommy Edman in the minor leagues. I didn't know a lot about Brendan Donovan in the minor leagues.
Lars
And I
Newport.
think it's because you hear the Mason Wins, the Jordan Walkers, the Herreras, the Nolan Gormans. Like we hear about those top few picks. And sometimes these guys just continue to progress through the system. He went to college. So he came out when he was 21, 22. You're talking about a guy who's only been in big league ball for what, 3-4 years now?
Since 2018.
Professional ball? Professional
Since
ball. Yeah.
he got drafted
So
in
this will be his
2018.
fourth, fifth season. And he missed 2020.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see what Ollie
I have
does.
a
I think you've got options at that 1-2 spot. Like I mean, if Tyler's healthy, he changes the game there in that number 2 slot.
he'd
Or
bat third
Goldie's
probably.
in the. I mean, we just again. I'll say it again.
Here's my
I don't
question.
like to speculate, but I would like to see Donovan leading off because of what he can do to get on base.
Here's my question for you. Going into the season, you kind of like to have your sure things, and it's obviously Goldie, Nolan, and Contreras right now. Do you think you can pencil Brendan Donovan in as a surefire guy that's going to play 150 games for you next year? Or
Okay, here's what
there's
I'll
still a
say. He
question
played what
mark in your head?
126 this year and had a 4.1 WAR. Right. If you look through his StatCast stuff, which I'm not going to pull up here, but I've looked at it before. He does seem to be, from people who I trust and listen to, as projectable of a player as you can. Like he's good. Like you said, this is who he's been. It's who he was in college. It's who he's been since 2018, and it's who he was again in 2022 at the big leagues. It does feel like this is just who he is, which tells me that if you get him 140, let's say he plays 140 games this year, you're looking at a guy who could potentially be a 5 WAR player at not just second, but what we talked just with Gorman. He's going to play short when Tommy has a day off. He could play third when Nolan has. He's going to when Nolan has a day off. He could play the corner outfield positions. You could put him at first base if you needed to put him at first base. We saw
Well, he
that.
played there a
Like
lot last year. Not a
I
lot,
know
but a
that's what
decent
I'm
amount.
saying. Like
Um,
I think that's
so
a
do
guy
you
that if he
think he's
gets
a
if
part
he
of?
plays close to 140 games, you're talking. In my opinion, he could be a 5 WAR player.
Yeah, but going into the season, like you have your guys that you're like, okay, we have our question marks. Is he at all a question mark to you? Or do you just pencil him in right
I guess
now
he has
as?
to be because he's only done it for one
But
year,
why?
and I've been guilty of this. Well, here's let me explain. You've been the one to rein me in every year because I've been speculative or that skeptical of Tommy Edman every year because honestly, and I'm going to say the same thing with Brendan and with Lars, we didn't hear a lot about them at the early levels of the minor leagues. That's our fault. That's my fault. That's not their fault. So I don't see why I shouldn't pencil Brendan Donovan in as one of the top 6 guys right now until he goes out and does something that proves it otherwise. Does that make sense?
I think the big thing with him and why I'm willing to say, we know who we have, and I think I would include him in the 5. That I say their spots are their spots right now, wherever that is in the order. But then now you got to find who the other 4 are. And the reason I put him in that category with the big 3 in the order, and probably, I don't know, maybe like Tyler O'Neill, those would be the 5 I'd probably have in there
Right.
as the guys I think are going to be in there every day if they're healthy. is because I don't think there is a world where his skill set ever slumps or regresses. Like, how does your great batting eye regress? How does your great approach
Agreed.
regress? How does your gritty nature, where you can play any position, your base running's fantastic, and you just do everything the right way? Like, he
And
can't
you won a
really
Gold Glove
do it.
because you played 7 different
Yeah,
positions and
to
played them all
me,
well.
Brendan
6.
Donovan in a bad year would just be not batting first for you, batting ninth now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that.
Well,
Like,
I
he's gonna
think
be in there.
if you were to like hold me down to a lineup, like I think you pencil in Tommy in the 9 hole. Like I just think that's what you
Yes.
do
Yeah.
because he's so valuable down there, right?
Yeah.
I think you pencil in Goldie and Nolan 3-4, but we've seen Goldie hit second and be incredibly successful when Tyler was raking in the 3rd hole. So and in my mind, Contreras is your 5 hitter, but there's nothing that says he couldn't be your number 2 hitter. Like I just think you've got a
Except
lot
for
of
me, I say
flexibility
that. I
with,
hate that.
and then you bring in Gorman, you bring in Yepez, you bring in Lars. We don't know what Dylan Carlson's going to do. Knock on wood that he's back, but I just think those are the guys that you're going to pencil in, and I think with
And
that
I think
lineup,
Donovan's
everybody
on
keeps
that group.
talking about wanting another bat. That's a lot of fucking hitting in that lineup when they are all healthy.
They have that. There's been some projections. I know this is about Donovan. We'll get back to him in a second, but he's a big reason as to why that how
Correct.
the Cardinals ranked like second best offense in baseball going into the year. And
I
I have
know.
been beating
Well,
this
what'd you say?
drum.
They have like 11 or 12 guys that have what's the stat that they
There
put
was
out?
like 7 guys, 6 or 7 guys, and there was 11 over 100 OPS plus or something like that.
Yeah,
But there was like
right,
6 or 7 that were in the 90th or percentile or above an OPS plus to the league,
right.
which they're the only team in baseball. They have the highest. But
Yep,
I think Donovan, I mean, it's almost kind of a boring conversation because he is just
it
so
is.
solid and steady. But I think he's a guy that you just like with Goldie and Nolan and Contreras. I think you just pencil him in and say, you know what, we didn't expect this, but I think this is just who he is. And he's probably going to bat
Yeah,
first or second for you. And he's going to have a 380 to 400 OBP. And honestly, he's been doing the drive line stuff that Nuke Bar and Nolan and Goldie have done.
yep,
You might see some more doubles and some more homers. I don't really care about
yep.
the homers, but the doubles I would like some more of. I think the best of Brendan Donovan could be yet to come. And I mean, he just, I don't know. It's so weird to me. Like a guy that we speak this highly of only had a 770 OPS. I don't think, unless you watch Brendan Donovan, you can truly understand how impactful he is nearly every day. I mean, to have a 70 OPS dad with a slugging percentage below 400, not very many guys can do that. And that shows how good he is at getting on
Right.
base.
If you look at his power numbers, 2021 was his biggest year, and he played at 3 different leagues in 2021. I think that was also included. Was that maybe include one of the fall leagues? I'm not sure. I didn't look into that. But he had 12 bombs and 21 doubles. I mean, when you look at that, like this is a guy who could hit 12 to 15 home runs at the show, and probably could hit 25 to 35 doubles up here. I believe.
What he hit last year.
And if he
He
does that
hit
from the leadoff spot and
he
is
had
getting on
21
base,
doubles last year.
yeah. How many
Like
home
we're
runs
talking
did he
about
have last year? I didn't look at that. 5.
5. I don't care. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I couldn't care less. He could hit 0 home runs and have a 400 OBP. I don't think I'd care.
Right.
Like the doubles are what
Yeah.
I care about. He's clutch. Like I don't know if you can say enough good things about him. We talked about him a lot last year,
Right.
but man, I don't know where our offense would have been without him last year. Like
No.
he handled every single test as well as you could. He got benched for a few weeks for, I don't know, Corey Dickerson for no reason. And then he came back, and then he was your leadoff hitter basically for the rest of the year until the postseason when they changed the lineup for whatever reason. I think
Yeah.
I mean
That was
I
weird.
think now let's go to the second base position as a whole because I don't really know what else to say about them individually. I think it's going to be a massive strength for this team to have Tommy Edman playing shortstop every day and to have these two young guys at second base. Really, like they can really either of them can win the job and be the everyday second baseman. It's in front of both
Yeah.
of them. But I think the great thing is neither of them need to win that job to be playing.
Agreed. I think
Like I think
that's the
that's
way to sum
awesome.
it up right there. If you were to
Like
look at it right now, and I don't have every team obviously on paper right now, but I think you could make the argument that at second base, the Cardinals are a top 3 team in the National League. Maybe top 5 for
you
sure.
got like
I mean, you've got
Ozzie and
Albies,
McNeil.
you got McNeil. I mean, do we love Nico
Nico
Horner
Horner's
that
really
much? And
he's really good.
yeah, there you go. And then look around. We're Cronenworth fans, but I'll take
He's
Brendan
not playing.
Donovan.
Cronenworth's playing first base.
Okay, so there you go. Like, who's playing second there?
Ha-Seong Kim.
Okay, good player.
He's not.
But look at the Dodgers. Is that going to be Lux, or are they going to move like that's
Yeah, I mean they're gonna have.
I
They're gonna have top offensive production. I think, or even just production in general. I don't know. I mean, I expect both of them to be really impactful this year. I don't know. I mean, I think they have the potential to have one of the best middle infields in baseball,
I agree. I agree.
and they have a lot of options that can make that happen. And this isn't a conversation for now. Maybe it's a conversation for a year from now. But good Lord, what are we going to be talking about next year when Mason Wynn comes into the fold?
Right.
What the hell
Hey,
are they
we'll
going to
cross
do?
that bridge. Cross that
No,
bridge when we
but
get
my
to it.
God,
Like,
they've got so much young talent, and I think these two kind of epitomize the abundance of young offensive talent that they have. I would kind
yep.
of wish we could take a couple offensive players away and replace them with Spencer Strider or something, but we can't do that.
Well,
We have
yeah.
they.
Quadzilla,
It's an
who,
abundance
by the way, is wearing
of
99 this year.
yeah for Ricky Vaughn. I think the thing that's not talked about enough is a lot of people talk about the Cardinals and they always say too many what ifs, too many question marks. They have so many damn guys that if one or two guys of those question marks don't pan out, then you have eight other guys that can go
Right.
play that spot. It's
Right.
kind of crazy. And I think
Yeah.
these two are two of the guys that you could see. I mean, honestly, would it surprise you if both of these guys end up batting in the top six in your order?
No, not at all.
Like, I mean, that wouldn't shock me at all. Like, we saw no, how long was it? I mean, it was, I don't know, a couple months. Gorman was batting second or fifth every day.
Yep. Yep.
And now we kind of act like he's a throwaway. And this is what
Yeah.
I wanted to get to a little bit. I think I think the most miscalculated take on all of Cardinal Twitter this year has been this offseason has been that Nolan Gorman is a redundant baseball player because you have Brendan Donovan.
Right.
I don't see it that way at all. They're two completely different players. Just because they
Yes.
both bat left-handed and play second base means nothing to me. I think having both of these guys and their skill sets, they're completely different, but both of them are necessary for a good baseball team. I think both of these guys are very valuable, and redundant makes no sense to me. I don't get why people are
No.
saying that.
No. No.
They don't bring the same thing to the table.
Right. Go get the best players and we'll figure out where they're going to play later. That's the way I look at it.
And there's a designated hitter in Major League
Yeah.
Baseball
Right.
in the National League
Right.
now.
And
Like,
here's the other
do you
thing we
think
know. As Cardinal fans and as baseball fans, there's also going to be injuries. Like, no matter what anybody wants to say, there are going to be some. Very rarely does a team go through the year with the same starting. Like,
never,
that doesn't
never
happen.
happens.
Doesn't happen. So having depth, like last year, people bitched about not having enough depth. This year, people are bitching because they don't like the depth. Well, no, you have a lot. You just don't understand the depth that we have.
It's not
That's the
even that.
problem.
You know what I think it is? I think more so what it is, people in the offseason very much like to make a lineup and say, this is the nine. These are our
Yeah.
nine players, and we need to go get some. And I don't like our left fielder. I don't like our starting pitching. So trade all the other guys that aren't in this lineup I made
So it fits
to
my
go get
lineup.
the other guy. You can't really do that with this team. You can't make a
No.
nine. I couldn't even tell you right now. I think I have a decent idea. I couldn't write the lineup for opening day and be like, this is what
Right.
it's definitely going to be. I have no idea. I think that kind of freaks people out because they're like, there's too many guys.
There is a large percentage of this fan base that would have an absolute aneurysm on Twitter if they were Rays fans.
Oh yes, yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
they would lose their everlasting minds because they can't wrap their heads around flexibility and how Kevin Cash uses them. And we're going to see Ollie do the same thing, and I love it.
I don't. Okay,
I love it.
Well, stop. I don't want that to the extent of Kevin Cash because I don't like some of that stuff he does. And also, we have too many players that are
You
too
know
good
what I meant.
to
You
beat
knew.
Kevin
You
Cash.
understood the point.
But hold on. This is what I want to say. I don't think the organization could have chosen to hire Ollie Marmol at a better time.
Agreed.
I think last year, Mike Schilt, Mike Matheny, those two would have struggled mightily trying to figure out how to use this roster and maximize it the way Ollie Marmol did.
And
I
Corey
think
Dickerson would have got 400 plate appearances.
Yes, and Albert would have been batting second the whole year, even when he was bad.
Yep.
I think Ollie Marmol is really going to have a chance to show why he got this job and why he's one of the bright young baseball minds in our sport. And I think when you look at a guy like Donovan and Gorman, and on paper you say, "Oh, we're two second basemen. Well, one of them can't play." I think he's going to show you how he can make that work and maximize both of them, and while getting them both, I don't know, 400 to 500 plate appearances.
Yep. I mean, we keep saying it, and it does sound like It does sound like a broken record. And I've had people accuse me, oh, you're just doing with blinders on. No, I'm trying to look at things objectively. Yes, one is a fan, but if you look at it, I would much rather have the problem that the Cardinals have now than not have the problem that we have.
It's not even a problem.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I guess that's what I'm
strength.
saying. Yeah. I'm excited about the second base position. I think with Donovan and Gorman, you have such, like you said, different skill sets, but you're covered either way. If you need to move Donovan somewhere, you can and feel comfortable with Nolan Gorman playing second base every single day. If you need to have Gorman DHing a lot because Donovan's playing there, you can feel comfortable with that. I just feel like the upside that they both have, and I'll say it again, and I've said it forever, and this could end up biting me in the ass, and that's okay. I just feel like Nolan Gorman's ceiling next to Jordan Walker is as high as I can remember in the Cardinals farm system. I hate even to bring up Oscar because that's such a sad thing. But since then, and maybe even before then, like the ceiling of these two guys, we had people talking about bringing in Michael Kadire and guys like that. And I could never understand. You have a guy in your system who has a ceiling that is 40 times higher right now than Michael Kadire. Not that, no shot at him. No shot at him at all. Like to be that left-handed bat here.
That's Michael Conforto. Michael Kadire.
Oh my God, I think Kadire.
Michael Kadire retired like 7 years ago.
See, I was getting fired up. I meant Conforto.
I was so confused. I was like, who are you talking about? Why come about?
I went back to the
Minnesota Twin from 2012.
I went back to the Twin. Don't bring him in either.
No, please don't. Unless he's
it's like you have a guy here with a ceiling. Let's go ahead and let's see what we got. And if we need to make a move, you've got time to make a move, and you have depth.
Yeah, I think I don't really know what else to say about it. I think we've kind of covered it all.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Like, I think in order to use both of these guys to their maximum potential, Brendan Donovan, to use him as valuable as he should be on your team, he's got to move around, or else you're very much limiting how valuable he can be to your team if he's just manning second base every day. For Nolan Gorman to be as valuable as he can be, he has to be playing second base some days. He might even have to play third base every once in a while. And he's going to have to DH as well. I think both of these guys have the ability to do a lot of different things for your team. And I think trying to say Brendan Donovan should be your everyday second baseman diminishes what he can do for your team and how valuable he was last year for us.
Agreed.
That's kind of my last thoughts on it, if you have anything else.
No, I think we end with a few mailbag things. You all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, as always, when you're on here listening, we would greatly appreciate that little red subscribe button. Our numbers are steadily inclining. No, that's not right.
Increasing.
On the incline. And that's thanks to you guys. So as always, tell a friend, but hit that little red button. We love these comments. I love them. They're awesome. And I love to see what you guys have to say, especially when you bury Caleb, but there hasn't been a lot of that lately. So, Ashton Schuyler, shout out to you. This podcast is awesome. Keep it up, y'all. We appreciate you. You're awesome. So thank you very much. Anything you got to say about that?
Thank you. I'll echo your sentiment.
Lake Tade, there was we were talking about the
Did you say lactate?
No, Blake. Hey, why are you making fun of our listeners' names? Blake Tade. Like, again, this is why you take so many ricochet shots on here.
I thought you said lactate.
Jeez, Blake, I apologize, but you did not deserve that because we really appreciated your comment, and Caleb just stepped all over it. When we were talking about the edginess of Wilson Contreras, he said there was a catcher we had a while ago who came from Chicago who is a bit like sandpaper. You used the word sandpaper. See, he was giving you a shout out there as you, AJ Przinsky was his name. I love AJ I love listening to him do games. I was a big fan when he came here. He pissed you off if you were not on AJ Przinsky's team. And if we're going to be honest, he probably pissed a lot of guys off. We know that he did on his own team. But that man showed up every day to win, and I loved him.
Yeah, I will say that if Wilson Contreras and AJ Przinsky with the Cardinals, we're going to have a problem.
Well, no, I think the point was,
but yes, I know, I get it. Personality-wise,
you're really this Blake, buddy. Thank you. Keep commenting. I will not even throw one to Caleb anymore. I'll just take it. Next time.
Was a joke. I actually did think you said lactate. That's your fault. You should have been clearer.
Daryl Dixon, we love you on The Walking Dead, buddy. So thanks for commenting. Really been enjoying the videos. Go Cardinals. Absolutely. Can't wait. Like also, we didn't say we got our opening day tickets.
We did. I got scammed. We don't know yet.
We will find that out later. We will find that out later. Also, I don't know who this guy is, but I love Chunky Conspicuous because Chunky Conspicuous, what a name. But this podcast underrated as hell. You tell him, Chunky. Like, you tell him, brother. I am on your side. There's no doubt that this podcast is underrated as hell, and Chunky knows it, and I'm all a part of it. I'm all a part of it. Chip Carey is okay. This one got me. Phil, we love you, buddy. Phil Fesky, we absolutely love you. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for listening. If you could hit that subscribe button. But Chip Carey is the best besides Vin Scully. Chip is very exciting. Come on. He called me big guy. He said, come on, big guy. Although it really does say common big guy. But I think he meant come on, big guy. So I'm not sure. But here's what I'm going to say. Vin Scully, R.I.P. There's land where it's him, it's Jack Buck,
Harry.
It's those two. You know, and you've got others.
And
Ernie Harwell, Harry Carey. Why can I not remember the Seattle guy's name right off the top of my head?
But Bob Uecker as well. You can't not mention.
Well, Euchre's still rolling. But those guys, they live
guys,
in rarefied air in baseball.
Yeah,
I don't know that I'm ready to put Chip Carey in rarefied air. I do appreciate you calling me big guy. Thank you. It's not like I didn't know that. I've been working on it, walking a lot.
Okay.
Trying.
I will say, though,
the point is, I'm happy the Chip's here.
Yeah, stop. No, you're not. But I will say that I do think Chip Carey is going to be good. I've actually he's had some interviews lately. He seems very excited to be in St. Louis and be back. I think you were a little harsh on him in that last episode. I was not. I said I actually had to tell you to chill a little bit, but I think Chip Carey is going to do a good job.
We did bring up Jeff Kent, Jamaica. Appreciate you, Jamaica. The rub on Kent is because he didn't get along with the writers, media, and caused problems in the clubhouse. I think we recognize that. He still deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Ty Cobb's in the Hall of Fame. There are others in the Hall of Fame who aren't great humans. Jeff Kent, I'm not calling him a bad human. I'm saying his numbers at second base rival those of others who are in the Hall of Fame. And, you know, that's the problem we've discussed on here with the voting process is some of these guys have an axe to grind, and that should not be the case. You should look at everything objectively and put people in on their merit, not on whether you like them or not, or if they were nice to you in an interview. Mm-hmm. Agreed?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Daryl Dixon bringing it back again with the crossbow. To me, it's hard to replace Danny Mack. Hopefully Chip isn't too bad. Hey, I will take isn't too bad any day.
He'll be good. He's a good broadcaster.
He is a good broadcaster. He is. I'm not saying that. He's gonna be awesome. I'm psyched. I can't wait.
No, you're not.
I am. First of all, Daniel Shu with one of the best comments of all time. Shout out Barb. Shout out Barb.
Stop pointing up. She's not dead.
I did it on purpose. Goodness, try to keep up, Junior. And then we have to go to George Southwick as a Cardinal fan for over 60 years. Shout out George. Shout out George. 60 years. That's awesome. My dad the same way. A little bit older than that. I have learned not to expect anything and therefore not be disappointed. He gave us a little LOL on that, but I agree. Like, that is a good thing. But my expectations are high for this team this year. They really are.
It's not even just
and then I've saved the last two.
Stop for 1 second. If he's been a Cardinal fan for 60 years, and he has seen how many world championships?
A lot.
So he probably needs to look around the league.
He has seen 4.
He's seen in his 60 years of being a baseball fan, he has seen the second most successful franchise in all of baseball.
He's seen us in 10 World Series and 5 championships. That's pretty awesome.
So my thing would be that you should probably, if you've been around for 60 years, you should probably appreciate a little bit how great of an organization the Cardinals have been during that.
Don't talk to your elders like that. Be nice.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they have the second most championships outside of.
Hey, people have talked to you about your respect on here. Let's go.
Stop doing that, and then you minimize my point. I'm saying Cardinal fans are very spoiled, much like Yankee fans.
Agreed.
Because
100%.
You should they're one of the best organizations in that span. So you say you don't expect much doesn't make much sense.
But when you're spoiled, you have higher expectations. I think there's no doubt about that.
He just said he didn't have any expectations.
Yeah, hey, good Lord. Talk about you and I right now.
Okay.
All right. Now we end with our favorite commenter of all time. Caleb's #1 fan club person, Angela Powers. Yep. Love Caleb. Well, hey, there's a lot of purple peace signs. Love those emojis. Love Caleb. He tells it like it is. I'm his #1 fan. You're great, Caleb. Love that kid. He's awesome. I love Angela Powers. Like we need to have her on. Angela, if you could reach out, we may have to have you on here. And then love Caleb. Thank you, Caleb, for telling everyone that Nolan Arenado is the best third baseman I've ever seen. Hey, you knew that that was Angela's best she's ever seen. Awesome. Rank him fifth. No way he's number one. I think there's some punctuation issues in there. I think what she's trying to say is, how dare you? Like, he should be number one, not no way he's number one. So we agree, Angela. Love this podcast. Thank you so much, by the way. Caleb is so passionate about the team. Love Caleb. I love this. She is Angela, we love you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nolan is the best third baseman of all time.
There it is. We're going to end it like that.
Right.
Thank you, guys. Hopefully you're enjoying these player profiles. Hopefully enough to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Hard9Pod or at the Hard. Anyway, if you type in Hard9Pod podcast, you'll find it. We're also on Instagram. We have 0 posts. We have 0 posts on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. We've gotten a lot of likes and followers on Facebook lately. A lot of comments on there. Next time I'll go there and pull out some comments. I didn't do that today. So either way, at Caleb Noble 08, at Mike Noble 08, we're very into our.
I was
going to
say though, make sure you type in the podcast after the Hard 9, or you might see my dad's other career that he has.
Whoa. It was. I don't even know what. Why? What does that mean? What does that mean? All right, I don't know what else to say about that one. That was not how I saw this going. I thought we were on a nice little roll there, and then that's where it ended. So, hey, as always, guys, we greatly appreciate you. Find us on the socials. Talk to us. We love to hear your comments. We love to talk about them on here. We love to have the interaction with you guys. As always, tell a friend. Be kind. Stay safe out there. Welcome to February. 13 days till pitchers and catchers report. That is awesome. Let's go. See you soon. Cheers.